Hi, viewers. Today we are going to see Salesforce Business Analyst Certification Preparation, Part 13. So analyze the document a business process to elicit requirements and engage stakeholders to visualize a future state. Um, for the introduction, we can see business process mapping is a key step in understanding and improving the process within an organization. It involves identifying and documenting the steps involved in a business process and using tools and best practice to create a accurate process diagram. It is essential for a business analyst to have a sound understanding of different process mapping tools to effectively communicate the desired information. The choice of tool will vary based on the process being mapped, as different maps display information is distinct ways. The business analyst should have the ability to select the appropriate map for the process and be aware that multiple maps may be required before analysis can commence. Business process documentation, diagramming a process. This involves creating a clear and accurate diagram of a process using best practice tools and software to effectively communicate the process to stakeholders. Documenting a process. This involves identifying and documenting the steps of a process, including the inputs, outputs, and decision points. Business process mapping. This involves creating a visual representation of a process using tools such as flowchart or diagrams to show how the process flows and how different steps are related. Documenting business process. First one is identify a person. Personas, identify the different types of users or persons that will be interacting with the process and gathering information about their needs and expectation. Plan kickoff meeting. Organize a meeting to align all stakeholders, establish clear objectives, and set of direction for a business process mapping project. Classify requirements. Organize and prioritize the requirement for the process, including inputs, output, process flow, and performance metrics. Planning and approvals. Develop a detailed plan for the process improvement project, including timelines, resource, and deliverables, and obtain approval from key decision makers. Propose ideal future state. Develop a vision for an improved and more efficient future state of the process, including specific goals and objectives. Steps for documenting a business process. To receive the sign off for the proposed future state of the project, business analyst must identify key, key project stakeholders, understand the requirement, and perform a gap analysis. Identifying personas. Business analyst must identify internal and external stakeholders who are engaged in the project. Kickoff meeting. Kickoff meeting introduce everyone to the objective of the project and sets expectations about the process that is about to happen. Current state. Business analysts document how the process currently works to identify gaps and possible improvement. Proposal for future state. Analyzing the current state and business needs, BA propose the enhancement that can be delivered to achieve desired outcomes. Receiving approval. Before the development process starts, business analysts present the work plan for approval from project stakeholders. Identifying personas. Business analysts identify propose people who insight guide the deliverables and the timeline of the project. Individuals engaged in this project. Business analysts must identify individuals engaged in the project who understand the current state, know what must be implemented, and can approve proposed solution. Key stakeholders for documentation process of the project must have the time, space, and platform to contribute their insight about the process. Key roles: business owners, subject matters expert, and developers should be involved in documenting the current state and work on the proposal for the future state to ensure that identified objectives fulfill the implementation criteria. Representative of all teams affected by the change should take an active part in the process mapping. Planning the kickoff meeting. The kickoff session and the subsequent relevant meeting held afterward provide an understanding of the current state and the expectation for what needs to be delivered. Meeting agenda. Before the kickoff meeting takes place, business analysts create an agenda and a list of topics that must be covered to map the current state. During the kickoff, teams discuss the pain point they currently faced and discover the gap in the ascent state that must be addressed by the project. Documenting the findings. Topics discussed during the kickoff meeting must be noted or recorded to provide a basis for documentation of the project current state. Documenting the current state. Documentation of the current state aids is understanding what improvement must be made and what outcome can be expected. As a state of the process, a business analyst analyzes the current state of the process to identify its strength and weakness. To accurate properly as a process, BA can utilize a variety of methods to understand the process, such as interview, shadows, or survey. Documenting expectation. Key stakeholders share their expectations for how the asset state could be changed to improve end user satisfaction, streamline process coordination, or comply with the regularly standards. Classifying requirements. Business analysts classify the request as either one of changes to be implemented or as a separate project. Defining the proposed future further state. Business analysts propose and map the future state of the business process to show how it close gap in the existing process. To be vision for the process based on the analysis of the asset state and identified points for improvement, business analysts develop the proposal for the future state of the project, ways for implementing changes. In the proposal for the to be state, business analyst detail the deliverable the project should achieve and the delivery timeline. Planning delivery and receiving approvals. Once the work plan for a delivery of process improvement is completed, business analyst must receive stakeholders approval. Communicating with project stakeholders. Once the proposal for the future state is completed, business analysts meet with stakeholders to communicate the expected deliverables and layout of the work plan and timeline. Project stakeholders raise their concern and ask additional questions before giving their final approval. Reviews and updates to make sure that everyone engaged in the project is informed about its progress. BS can regularly share update about important project milestones. A review of the work completed allow the team to discover and address the issue during the delivery passes of the project. Business process mapping. Document all the steps included in the business process workflow. What is process mapping? Process mapping visually represent the component of the workflow and the relationship and the dependencies between them. It outlines the end-to-end business process to show how a series of steps lead to the end result. Significance of a process mapping. Mapping the existing process allow team to gain an understanding of the process from its start to the end. It aids in the identification of gaps and areas for improvement in the current state of the process. Business process mapping benefits enable effective communication between project stakeholders and help discover the gap in existing process. Communication process map facilitate effective communication of a business process between stakeholders as individuals make data driven decision based on the documented process overview. Identifying flaws. Visual representation of the end-to-end process gives visibility into the process and produce insight into gaps and error in the existing process. Testing tool. With tools for business process mapping, teams can test what if scenarios and improvement hypotheses to verify how they impact the process. Learning materials. Business map can be used as learning materials for new team members, shortening the learning curves during training. Business process mapping steps, process identifications, identifying the process to be mapped and the reason for mapping. For example, customer feedback suggests the process could be improved. Gather the team, assembling the team of stakeholders, including business owners, subject matters experts, and end user, whose insight will guide how the process could be improved. Gather information, collecting information about the processes such as input and output steps and dependencies between them and timelines. Monitor the process. Reviewing the process regularly once the improvement have been made to address issue and make adjustment if needed. Develop the process, creating a visual representation of the process using flowchart or BPMN diagram to demonstrate how it flows from start to end. Analyzing the process map, examining the map to find the areas for improvement such as inefficiencies and duplicate efforts. Enhance the process, making improvement, automating tasks, eliminating unnecessary steps and more to the process based on the process map analysis. Monitor the process, review the process regularly once the improvement have been made to address issues and make adjustment if needed. Best process best practice for business process mapping. Engaging stakeholders. Stakeholders should be engaged in the process from the start to verify if created document reflect the process correctly. Keeping process mapping simple. The process should be mapped in the clearest way to understand the and communicate. Picking the right team, people who engaged in the process are expert whose insight are most relevant to the process. Gathering the whole picture. Before applying changes to the current process, business analyst must ensure that it is fully mapped to make informed improvements. Selecting the right types of process to perform the mapping. Business analysts should document those process for which the mapping will achieve predefined goals, clear focus, starting with the definition of the beginning and the end of the process, addresses gaps outside of the process, asking for support. If needed, additional stakeholders should actively participate in business process mapping, asking for approval. Key approver of the process mapping can regularly review the existing outcome to validate that it accurately represents the project. Diagramming business process involves creating a visual representation of the process to effectively communicate it to stakeholders. Visual communication, diagramming visual represent the business process of the organization. Visual representation clarify the understanding of the complex process, streamlines communication between stakeholders and solid identifies the key points the diagram portray. Software and tools. Business analyst can use a variety of tools and software to diagram business process. They include LucidChat, SmartDraw, Visio, Microsoft, yeah, Udra Max, Glyphy, Bi- Bizagi, Modular, and ARIS Express. 3 Cs of diagramming. Understanding the concept of clarity, consistency, and contrast can help in creating effective process diagram. Clarity. The diagram must be created in an organized, easy to understand format that does not require anyone presence and guidance in explaining presented concept. Consistency. Diagram should follow patterns that aid in understanding the order of presented ideas and provide meaning to each element of the process. Contrast describe the shape, size, color, and text added to the diagram that reinforce certain elements to indicate their place and importance in the process. Universal process notation is one of the method for diagramming business process. What is UPN? UPN is one of the available diagram notation used by the wide range of industry. It allowed them to display the business process of an organization in an ordered way from a high level to detailed view. Principles of UPN. With the UPN, business analyst can diagram 8 to 10 activity boxes in hierarchical way, describing what is being done, the resource needed to complete the task, who is responsible, accountable, supportive, consulted, or informed. Lines showing relationship and dependencies between process. Process diagram. Business analyst can use various ways to document business process. For example, capability model, detailed process map, SIPOC map, value stream map. Capability model is a graphical breakdown of the capabilities of the product or feature. Representation of capabilities, capability model visually summarize the capabilities of the product, feature, or organization. It breaks down business capabilities into different levels and shows them in a hierarchical form. UI consideration for report format. Capabilities models can be useful in presenting the um, architecture of a future and displaying how specific functionalities fit into the product and related to other um, other process or business areas. Detailed process map or flow chart that break down and detail each of the steps of the process. Comprehensive overview of a process. Detailed process map focus on breaking down the process into sub-process to display details related to every single steps in a bigger process. Because of their considerable level of detail, they are useful in pointing out areas for improvement. SIPOC map. SIPOC map list component of a process including suppliers, input, process, output, and customers. Key element of a process. SIPOC map aids in the identification of the key elements of a process. Suppliers define the source of inputs into the process that impact the final deliverables. Input or the information needed to accomplish the process. Process are the steps necessary to accomplish it from the beginning to the end. Output or the final deliverables are customers or end user of a process who receive the outputs. Benefits of say SIPOC map. SIPOC maps are useful when the scope of complex project must be defined. They provide visibility into how elements in the process are connected. Value stream map visualize the flow of information and materials that allow the final product to be delivered to the customer. Mapping the process. Value stream map illustrate the steps needed to deliver a product or future to customers. They encompasses the entire span of the process and utilizes symbols, colors, and size to show all activities, connections between them, and additional information. Identifying waste. Value stream maps are useful in identifying waste as they shows all activities in the process, including those that do not add value to the end users. With the value stream map, business analysts can also discover areas for improvement. We can see some scenarios for examples. Business analysts at Cosmic Innovations are tasked with documenting the company's current sale process to find areas for improvement. What steps must they take to ensure a comprehensive and accurate representation of the sales process? The solution is business analysts should start off by identifying key salespeople whose insight will guide the business documentation process. Once the crucial stakeholders are identified, business analysts should schedule a kickoff meeting to introduce everyone to the project and set project expectation. Business analysts should collaborate with the sales team to identify their pain point and work on a proposal for the future state. Project stakeholders review the outline of the to be state and add their comments before giving their final approval. Those are all the some resource you can use for more reading. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.